Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back. I know. Can you hear me? Anybody there? Do you remember who this is? I know. It's been that long, but this is UNC Hoops Talk podcast. I am your host, Dan DeWitt. I am back. I dusted some cobwebs off, but I haven't totally forgot how to do this. Haven't forgot about you guys. Hopefully, you haven't forgot about me and the podcast as well. Yeah, really no good explanation. I look back, we haven't podcasted since the end of April when we were wrapping up the season. Been a crazy summer, as the kids get older, more activities, all that kind of stuff. But really, no excuse with all the news, all the excitement that we've had in Tar Heel basketball. So I apologize for that. Um, Part of it's been trying to get Gil and Blake back on, or one of them on. Gil's traveling the country right now, um, and Blake's got a new venture, business venture he's getting into, not with keepingitheel.com anymore. So I just thought enough of the scheduling stuff. I need to get on here. We need to dust the cobwebs off. Yeah, John is here. Says a new season. Who this exactly, John? I mean, it hardly feels like a new season. We got so many guys back, um, but obviously it is, and it's going to be a completely different season than last year as we're coming in ranked way high. But we're going to jump into that stuff. I just wanted to kind of apologize to you guys first that it's been this long. Again, I hope that you're still with me, that you still subscribe to the podcast. If you're hearing for this the first time you've heard of this podcast or hearing me, I would love wherever you're at listening to this that you would subscribe. And yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. If you enjoy it, obviously subscribe and come back. If you want to join us live, I do them live on YouTube. Just go to UNC Hoops Talk on YouTube. You'll find it. Subscribe there. Hit the little notification bell, and you should get a notification when we go live. Because I mean, as you can tell already, if you're here, if you've been here, no good schedule. We kind of go when we can, or I go when we can, when I can, that kind of thing. So make sure you subscribe so that it drops into your feed wherever you are, and that's where we'll start it. We're gonna jump in. I didn't really prepare any notes. Again, I'm kind of dusting off some cobwebs here as we go. We're gonna move through it, and if you are with me here live tonight, I am recording this on Friday, the 9th of September. We are 3 weeks away from, well, I was gonna say late night. It's not late, it's live action now with Hubert Davis. I don't know what to say with Hubert Davis. I think they just call it live action. So that is gonna be September 30th. It's kind of the most recent news that we've had, but obviously really exciting. Moving it into September. Part of that, I think, from what I heard, is they want it with a home football game. Obviously, you go to live action on Friday night, go to a football game Saturday night, make a weekend of it and stuff. So I think that's part of why it got moved into September. But obviously, and it used to be, it had to be just so many days before your first game, all that stuff. I don't know what those restrictions are anymore. So maybe we have some more leeway on that. But um, exciting. We get it a little bit earlier. Obviously, hopefully we see that game. I know, again, some recent news was there was an NIL deal with the players to have a scrimmage, and obviously they weren't going to put that streamed out there because they wanted people to show up and pay for it and all that good stuff, which I don't blame them. But we didn't, we got some highlight videos, stuff like that, but not much out of that. So hopefully this one will be streamed ACC, maybe not even streamed, maybe it's on the ACC network. That would be awesome. But yeah, hopefully we see that, and it moves us right into the season, obviously. So that would be the most ideal thing. So I don't even know where to start. If you're here with me live, put in the comments where you kind of want to start, where what we want to talk about tonight, and I'm just going to go for a half hour, 45 minutes, something like that, and just kind of talk with you guys again, dust off the cobwebs, and jump right into it. So um, probably the biggest news, most of what we're talking about is probably going to be. Uh, Stuff that you've heard. So we're gonna mention about it. Obviously the bigger stuff we'll maybe spend some most time, but obviously, the biggest stuff probably is everybody that came back. We got Armando back, we got Caleb Love back, we got RJ back, we got Leaky back for another year. Unfortunately, Manic could not come back for another year, but and then we got our freshmen stepping up. We got Puff Jackson coming back. We got Dontrez Styles should be able to step up. We got Demarco Dunn should be ready to go. But other than all of that stuff, everybody returning. The biggest news is probably, well, it was that we signed the number one recruit in his class anyway for next year, Gigi Jackson. But we're not going to go there tonight. We'll save that for maybe for a different podcast or something. But decommits and goes to South Carolina. But again, that won't affect this year's team. I'm in one sense glad that at least the distraction is gone. We know that he's not coming. Whatever. I mean, it's been a while ago. I didn't remember that at first. So, biggest news is and maybe the reason he didn't come after he reclassified, although we all heard that Hubert Davis offered that to him, is because we got Pete Nance from Northwestern. Obviously, a basketball name there, some basketball lineage in his family, and it has looked good from all accounts. Again, the little bit of highlights that we got from the inter squad scrimmage, everything that we've heard coming out of practices and such has been all good about it. So starting to see some familiar names here. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it says "Go Heels, let's win every game by 100." Don't put your money on that one. Praying nobody gets hurt. Obviously, replacing Brady is done with cohesion and success. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you. There we go. Just call me Rev. There we go. I can work with that. But good to see you back here. Glad that you haven't forgotten about the podcast and that you guys are able to hop on here. So, John apparently wants to talk some football here. Over under football game last week with at least higher than one of the totals for one of the basketball games. Now, we've been down a little bit, but I think again with the depth that we have this year and the talent we have coming back, we shouldn't score under 60. I mean, obviously has a chance of that, but really we shouldn't be lower than that game. I know that was a high scoring football game, um, but give us some credit here, John. In the last few years, we've been a little bit slower. Hasn't always been pretty, but I think we're okay. Um, John's talking about the recruiting we kept coming in. So yeah, I mentioned Gigi Jackson. We have Simeon Wilcher coming in next year as well. Let's see, this year, who are the freshmen this year? Why am I blanking? Oh, we got Seth Tremble. Um, put up the stats again. Had the highlights from the inter squad scrimmage. Nickel. Tyler Nickel looks to be a shooter. I still kind of worry or wonder kind of how much time he's going to get, just how big of a step it's going to be from the competition he was playing in high school compared to what he's going to have to do more defensively. Because again, that seemed to be what kept kind of Dantra's style off the court last year. And Demarco, some of that is getting some of the defensive stuff. Even though we expect Hubert kind of to be the shooter, we think of him as the offensive guy, but it sounded like the defense is what kept him kind of limited last year. So we'll see what Tyler can contribute. We got Jalen Washington, but it sounds like they're bringing him back uber slowly off the injury. Um, another big guy in the mix for Baycott and for Nance. I guess we can still count. Oh, I'm gonna forget his name. Will, not Will, is it? Who's the other? Who's the big guy that came in January last year? I know you guys will help me out with that, but um, you know, the big guy will be banging with Baycott again. Maybe a few spot minutes, and I feel like I'm missing another freshman. Who else am I missing, guys? Seth Tremble and Tyler Nickel, Jalen Washington. Feel like there's another one, but maybe it's just the guy I'm forgetting. It's the big guy, Will Shaver. There, I was gonna say Will. Thank you, Brian Carpenter gave it to me. I was thinking Will, but I was thinking like Will Baker. That was a recruit from a few years ago that we didn't get. So Will Shaver. I think that's maybe it. I'm not missing any other freshmen, am I? Um, so John kind of, I don't know if he's asking here or stating, will they get playing time with all the vets coming back, or an active transfer portal by players be next season? I mean, I think there's again, if Seth Trimble is what it looked like he was in the inter squad scrimmage, again, that's a scrimmage. The coaches were not even in there. It was like Marcus Ginyard and Deion Thompson and Jackie Manuel and B Rob doing the coaching. So the coaches weren't there. So obviously that doesn't affect it. I'm sure they saw tape of it or whatever, but um, if Tremble's anything like that, he's got to find some minutes. The tough part is, yeah, like Caleb Love and RJ Davis are still there. Um, and we still got guys, fighting in behind that. Puff Johnson, Dontrez, DeMarco in the guard position. Leaky is established there, but I think we got to get Seth some minutes, and we just can't play him all that many minutes. We played 5, 6 guys last year in so many of those games down the stretch. We gotta be deeper than that. We were saying that. Um, all through the season. I know it worked out great last year, but I don't think we can be there. So now what comes in the next year, and again, I mean, we're way too early to talk about that. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, John, but you know, we've kind of expected or thought Caleb would leave after freshman year. We thought he'd leave after sophomore year. We again, if we have a season like we're lined up to have, we kind of would expect Caleb maybe to leave after this year. I think RJ would probably be back, but then you'd think Seth would slide in alongside him. Leaky does have to be gone. Again, Baycott doesn't have to be gone, but we kind of assume he was. I think Pete Nance would have another year after this year. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think he would have at least one more year as well after this year. I don't think this is his like super season COVID year. So I think we'd go there. But again, we're way too early to even talk about that. Let's stay on pace here with this one. Lori, just glad you're back. Glad to have you back, Lori. It's good to be back in front of the microphone. It feels a little. I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like a little foreign here, but it is so good to be talking Tar Heel basketball and all this stuff. So Christian says, I can't believe we didn't win that national championship. We don't need to go there. And I don't even know if I said it on the last podcast, but I've been telling people all season or all off season, I guess. Um, I was more confident in the Final Four game when we were down 3 to Duke than I was in the championship game when we were up 15 at half to Kansas. Obviously, Baycott's injuries, other guys beat up, tired, and I know they are too. But with the smaller rotations we had, and the ball can't bounce your way every time. It is just hard to think we were up 15 at half in the national championship and ended up losing it. It's brutal, but again, we were playing with house money at that point. We had, not only made the Final Four, we had beaten the number one team in Baylor in our region. But on top of all that, we beat Duke in the Final Four, the first time obviously we've ever met in the tournament, not even just the Final Four, and Coach K's last game ever. So I mean, that's house money just piled on top of each other a few times there. So I agree with you. I can't believe it when you think about it, but at the same time, like we were there and we had it, and I don't know. Again, we think kind of okay, that's another redemption year this year, but that's easier said than done as well. So John says 2023, the Jordan year, would be nice storybook ending with a championship. I mean, what year would not be a nice storybook ending to end with a championship? But I get what you're saying there. And that kind of just reminds me of scheduling. So I think let's go into scheduling a little bit. I mentioned already we have live action coming up September 30th, 3 weeks from today, I believe that is. The crazy part is when I pulled up the schedule here, we go from that. Usually we get like a week, 2 weeks or something like that before our exhibition. Then after that, but we go almost a full month. October 28th, another Friday. So I'm guessing probably is 4 weeks away. We play. I've never heard of these guys. Johnson C. Smith in an exhibition game. That's October 28th, and then we go. Oh, another week and a half or so. November 7th will be our first official game. UNC Wilmington in Chapel Hill. But anyway, when you talked about Jordan Brand there, it just reminded me of excuse me, another game that we have in Charlotte. Let's see, when is that game? That's the 21st, I guess. I was going to say the 20th of December, but the Jumpman Invitational, first one ever. We're playing Michigan, and our women are as well. Our women's team playing Michigan, I think the day before us in Charlotte. So that's exciting, and of course that's on top of the CBS Sports Classic. Who this year we play Ohio State. We also have the Phil Knight Invitational, where we'll play Portland. This is Thanksgiving weekend. On Thanksgiving Day, I guess actually we play Portland, and then we'll play either Iowa State or Villanova, and then that's the Friday right after Thanksgiving, I guess Black Friday, and then we'll skip a day. So then Sunday is the last day of the Phil Knight Invitational. I forget who's all over. I think Alabama's over there. I don't know who else is on our side. I don't have that pulled up. And then we also have the ACC Big Ten Challenge, kind of the Wednesday after that Phil Knight Invitational. We go to Bloomington to play Indiana in the Big Ten Challenge. So we're going to go through the Big Ten pretty much and just kind of play them all. Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan should be going. And I guess I didn't even realize we don't even have the ACC schedule yet. I was going to look at when our first ACC game was, but we don't even have that schedule yet. Looking where we have a big break where we'll play that first ACC game. We have a break between the Indiana game after that. That one's November 30th. We have a little break until December 13th. So they could easily slide in. I think there's a week missing in there that they could slide in an ACC game to have our opener. If you remember, they've been having an ACC game before the new year in that December range. So I bet our first ACC game is going to be in between that Indiana and Citadel game. And then, yeah, Michigan is December 21st. So there's plenty of time to have another one, I guess, late December before the new year turns over as we get in. So we should be getting, obviously, later this month, get that schedule. And that kind of brings me to kind of the podcast schedule here. Normally in August, we have a recruiting podcast. Obviously, that didn't happen. Blake is no longer with keepingithhealed.com, so I don't know how much he's on recruiting. I don't follow recruiting enough. I kind of see when we offer guys, when guys commit, but to go a couple years out, I just don't do it. So I don't know that we're going to have a podcast or a recruiting podcast this year. And then September here, usually we're doing player predictions where we kind of go through and I'll have to see if I can get Blake or Grill or both of them on here to kind of talk through what we think, who our leading scorer, who our leading rebounder is, who's the X factor, all that kind of stuff. If we can do that kind of stuff, but and then I think, man, September, maybe it's August or October as well. We got to do the predictions podcast with you guys, where you guys send me, and I gotta be out there. I gotta post that so you guys can respond. But where you guys send me what your predictions for the year are, either regular season, including the tournaments, how far we go in the ACC or in the NCAA tournament, all that good stuff. We gotta get going on that. So that's maybe now that I'm putting it out there, it puts a little pressure on me to get it out there. But that needs to be coming up. Obviously, we can be talking about the live action after that happens the end of this month. So yeah. So Rev says anyone still pulling for the 2022 Natty? Kansas being investigated, aren't they? If they get DQ'd, the problem is they never really give it to anybody. If somebody gets DQ'd, I think when Louisville got theirs pulled, I kind of just put an asterisk about it. Like they won it, but it got taken away. They never really claim anybody else as a champion, I don't think. Um, and so I don't think anybody's really going to say we're the champions if even if they do take it away. But you're right; they are still being investigated. What the crazy part is, and this kind of gets into more detail than I want to on this podcast, but um, the IARP or whatever it is that's investigating, it's like them and Memphis and Arizona. I feel like there's maybe another one in there, um, and maybe NC State, but the committee that was formed to make the decisions is supposed to make the decisions all faster has now been shut down. So those 5 schools are the only ones that will be, um, judged by the IARP, and so how likely are they to give the death penalty or to take away championship or even season bans and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see. The thing with the IARP was that there was not gonna be any appeal system. Remember, when we went through all that stuff they gave as a punishment, we appealed it, all that kind of stuff. There is none of that with them. But again, after those 4, judgments or, whatever punishments are given out, that committee is no longer. So, that'll be interesting to watch all that stuff. But yeah, Kansas is in all that stuff. Um, so Rev says, John's making a good point, 23 for 23. um, Christian says, even if they're guilty, Kansas still beat us. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that. So John is going to hold me that schedule. Do it, John. And the rest of you as well. Hold me to the schedule. We got to get this pod going. Like I said, I'm kind of dusting off the podcast cobwebs here, with this one tonight, and then we got to be going full. The season's almost here. It's crazy. I know, like football just started. We're 2 games in, but like it seems like it's so close here that we got basketball coming, and we do. It's right around the corner. So old school solo tonight. That's right, John. Again, it feels weird. I don't know how long it's been since I've done a solo one, but we're here. We're knocking it out. We're having fun. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this. Again, I love just being back here. It's a little crazy, but Garrett, welcome. Go Heels. Absolutely. Go Heels. What other off season news? What other stuff has happened um, that we haven't kind of hit on yet tonight? We've talked recruiting a little bit. We've talked scheduling now. We talked obviously roster a little bit. Upcoming stuff. So Rev says I didn't watch the final and I don't care. We beat Duke and we're facing cheats, so I checked out. Good point about not giving to us officially. Nothing can take away. Yeah, again, it's such a heartbreaker that we lost, but like we had just like I think beating Baylor after that. We're playing with house money, but we beat UCLA. We kind of expected we should beat St. Peter. That would have been probably the one team. If we lost to them, it would have been pretty brutal because we wouldn't have got that Final Four. Duke would have been there, and we lost to a team we shouldn't. So we clobbered St. Peter, and then so at that point we're on house money. But of course we're playing Duke, so we can't stop. Then beat Duke, ended K. We just had house money stacked on house money, and um, again, if we would have came out and just been flat, like you would have kind of accepted it. But the fact that we were up 15 at half, that's probably the most brutal part of it. Um, yeah. But I can't believe you couldn't even watch it. So uh, Garrett says, looking back, that run was absolutely incredible. Absolutely. I mean, I don't think we even. Well, I don't know. I don't. At least I don't take it or like even remember how incredible it was. Like when we think about like Duke and Kansas and like beating St. Peter's and stuff, like you forget about. I mean Baylor. Remember how much we were up, and Brady Manick gets kicked out of the game, and they go on that run and come back, and like I just remembering it now, like, it went to overtime, remember that? And Styles hits that big 3 from the corner to kinda give us a little juice in the like, we thought it was over when we went to overtime, that Baylor was gonna beat us, so, just incredible. That UCLA game was a really good one. Just I mean, yeah, just the shot that, you know, the poster shot that Caleb had against Duke that everybody, posts that picture and stuff. I mean, yeah, just incredible, 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 incredible. Lori says, I'm looking forward to not seeing Coach K on the court anymore. How weird is that going to be? We're going to have Hubert Davis playing against John Shire's Duke team. Just crazy. So Garrett says, one time the whole season we seemed tired and worn out. It was the championship. Baycott isn't hurt. We win the championship. I've kind of wondered that, like, even if he doesn't kind of tweak his ankle in that game, remember, there's a whole did the floor give out kind of stuff. Um, you know, would we have won that? Like, because I mean, you could tell he was kind of gimpy and all that, but could he have kept going if he didn't tweak it again? Like, obviously, that was the end of him. But never. I mean, you can't go by that. You don't know. Um, So Rev's got a new hashtag. I like that for this year. Is instead of Don Trey Styles for three with the hashtag. Um, yeah, I like that a lot. All right. Um, we couldn't handle a big boy big cat. Yeah, yeah. And again, that's hopefully where the depth this year, uh, kind of puts us over the top. Obviously, we have to get there. There's no guarantees, all that good stuff. We know that, but um, I mean, if we can get there and we have that depth all year, that and well, I guess here's some latest news. Maybe this is some stuff we can say on here that maybe you haven't seen. I think it's kind of coming out now, but kind of expected as well. But I've seen that Baycott is on the All American list. We kind of expect. I think he was on a first team that I saw. Caleb might have been mentioned on there as well. So John asks, I'll kind of let you guys answer. Who leads us from threes made this year? So John, I guess it maybe depends if you're asking percentage wise or number of threes made. Who makes the most threes as opposed to has the best percentage? But that's a good one because I mean Leaky was hitting, but he's not shooting a bunch. Caleb shoots a lot, but some of them aren't very good ones. So you wouldn't think he would lead us percentage wise, but maybe he makes the most. RJ, if he picks his spots, I mean, obviously he's deadly from out there. Um, I mean, if you're looking percentage wise, maybe Tyler Nickel doesn't shoot enough of them, but maybe he gets in and knocks him down to where his percentage is the most. But maybe his doesn't count if he doesn't shoot enough of them. Obviously, Puff Johnson, kind of thought he was a shooter coming around. He hasn't shot the ball extremely well in his time there, but maybe he comes on. Um, you know, Pete Nance. I don't think he shoots the ball as well or as much from deep as Brady Manick did. Maybe he does. We got a lot of options. There's definitely no gimme there. This isn't like a Wayne Ellington year where you knew that he was, or like a Marcus Page, guys like that. But Garrett says, "Can't wait for the season." Good to see you, Garrett. Good to see you. And yeah, we've been going about a half hour here. I think it's about time to wrap up. If anybody else has anything that we've off-season news maybe that we should hit on or talk about, or obviously we're going to have to start again. We got a lot of catching up to do. I've said that enough this podcast, but start talking about who our starters are, although I don't think that's as big of a conversation this year. I think at least four of them are set. I think it's Baycott and Leaky and RJ and Caleb. It seems like it'll be Pete Nance sliding into that four. But maybe Puff could, before we had Pete, people were saying Puff at the four or Dontrez at the four or slide Leaky up to the four and one of those two in at the three. Um, so, I mean, there's a little bit interest there. I kind of think it'll be Pete Nance at the four there alongside of Baycott, but Pete's I guess Will Shaver can get a few minutes in there, but I figure Pete is probably the small five when Baycott does need a rest or is in foul trouble or something like that. But um, Garrett says, "Love college basketball. Absolutely, best time of year, best sport. I mean, nothing beats it. Nothing beats it. College football can be exciting. I know more people maybe get into it, but for me, it's all college basketball for sure." John says, "How many games do the Biscuit Boys close out for the fans?" Well, hopefully it's more this year. Kind of like what you're saying with the hopefully it was kind of joke of is our football team's score last week higher than any of the basketball ones, but hopefully we get those. I don't know, we don't even necessarily need to go down to the Biscuit Boys, but just to get the backups more minutes, get some of those freshmen minutes, and even our sophomores. Again, DeMarco Dunn needs to get some minutes here. Obviously Puff, and I feel like there's another wing in there that I'm missing. I know Kerwin Walton transferred out. I guess there's some off-season news if you hadn't heard. Again, probably news that you've heard, but he went to Texas Tech. Garcia wasn't with us long, but went to Minnesota. I know John Rothstein tweeted out at one point that he got another waiver to play immediately, which I guess isn't the rule. people can't just transfer as much as they want and be eligible right away. But sounds like they're going to be pretty lenient with who gets the waiver. So a lot of guys will still do that. But uh, yeah, we'll see. That's college basketball. I mean, college basketball has changed so much in the last 2 years between transfer portal. I mean, even before that, we had the grad transfers for a little bit, and then it went crazy with the transfer portal, and then people being eligible right away and transferring right away, and now NIL. I mean, it's a whole different ball game, as they say. Um, so Garrett says, "I'm glad those guys found new homes. It'll be interesting to watch those guys. You know, just last year we were um, hit or miss, I guess. We had Walker Kessler, got drafted, played really well, was on the number one team in the country for a while. Ended up, we went farther. I know at one point in the year, it's like, man, like he picked the right place to go, and he made the right decision, leaving us to go to Auburn. They were number one, chance for national championship, all that. Well, it was us that almost won the national championship. So it's kind of crazy. But then Garrett was kind of whatever for Mississippi State. Seventh Woods couldn't really ever do anything after he left us. I don't know if that's just all injuries or what that was, but I don't know if we had any other transfers last year. But Garrett pointed out Ant Harris as well. I believe he ended up at Rhode Island, if I'm not mistaken, which is where one of the Miller boys. Let's see, not Sean Miller, but what's the other one? What's the coach of Rhode Island now? It's the other Miller that was at Indiana, Archie. There we go. Archie Miller is, I believe, the coach for Ant Harris now. So, yeah, it'll be kind of interesting. And, again, we're so stacked at that kind of wing, that 2-3 spot between having RJ and Caleb already, and then Seth, and then Demarco and Dontrez, and um, obviously Leaky there, and Puff, and all that. That I mean, you think there was a place for Ant. There was a while there that he was getting kind of those backup minutes as he was coming back, but then could never really make it stick. So yeah, obviously wish them guys the best at their new schools. Kind of be watching them and keeping up with what they can do. But uh, Garrett says he's got to go watch the Braves. And so yeah, man, turn those notifications on. We will see you next time, hopefully. Have a good one. Hopefully, I might be going to a Braves game next weekend, so um, don't live too far from Atlanta either. So go ahead and go Braves, but mostly go Heels, as John says as well. And yeah, I think we got a good little. Hopefully, we dusted off the cobwebs here, and that's a good one. We'll get this out into the podcast apps and into the feeds, so that again, hopefully other people haven't forgot about as well. But I do appreciate you guys being here. Rev, I'm not sure what the F is for, but uh, there we go. That's better. Good. Sounds good. See you soon. Go Heels. Um, yeah. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you guys so much. Um, and looking forward to such a good year. Sheepdogs back in here. Good to see you, man. It's going to be a heck of a season. After a good one, reload with all and replace Manic with Nance. Should be a good one. It should absolutely be a good one. I don't think too many people have us preseason number one. I think a lot of it's Gonzaga, and a couple people have Houston even above us. But um, yeah, well, Laura, if you weren't pumped for the season before this, I don't know what you're doing. But I'm glad that you are pumped for the season now. And yeah, I can't believe it's 3 weeks away. But absolutely should be an exciting one. Plenty to podcast about, and yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Um, Again, if you want to join us live on YouTube, it's always awesome to get the comments and questions as we're going. Just go to UNC Hoops Talk at UNC Hoops Talk on YouTube, and you'll find it. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff, and wherever else you listen to this, guys. Make sure you subscribe so you get them in there. Hit me up on Twitter. It's at AltarHillDan. You can email into the podcast, unchoopstalk@gmail.com. All kinds of ways to get a hold of me. And love the feedback. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Um, and yeah, until next time, go Heels.